Ezreal?
Neyse oğlum.
Ezreal oğlum mu? Değil mi? Aa yeni çağır.
Deadlock
Yeni
lan.
hero abi.
Deadlock, Deadlock.
Deadwolf.
Ne?
Ama benziyor. Icebox geri dönüyor. Ha siktir.
Müziği kes.
Sesini aç.
Oppdatering.
Abi TR.
Jeg får ikke kontakt.
Ne abicim?
Hele anlegget går på reservekraft.
Bakıyorum
Også
abi.
inngjerdingen.
Oppdraget gjelder fortsatt.
Al abi.
Tak inn.
Heh. Çok güzel oldu.
Team. Statussjekk 2. Oppdatering. Jeg får ikke kontakt.
Hele anlegget går på reservekraft. Også inngjerdingen.
Oppdraget gjelder fortsatt. Tak inn. You too.
Won't take long to prep the crate for travel. They're pretty anxious to get this thing stateside.
Maybe I go first, Tuffen. You know, just in case.
Svalbard. Norç.
Stopp!
Fareymiş.
You okay?
Yeah. I just don't like rats.
How do you feel about bears?
Skinsiz Vandal mı lan o?
Evet. Karavandan. Niye öyle bir şey dedi? Ayılarla aran nasıldır diye.
Şşş, izle.
Oğlum.
Sadece izle.
Hva i helsinken skjer der nede?
Focus. And you, stay close.
Aha çalınmış.
Wait. Where's the...
Anna,
Bu ana kimmiş ya?
Acaba.
Şunlara bir skin alaydınız ya.
Bir şeyler var burada. Eyvah ayı geldi. Ne diyorsun ya?
move!
Hop reloading. Boşa taramayın.
Bunlar
Boşa
kim
tarama.
oğlum?
Eyvah. Ekstraksiyon. Aha. Trap attı. Voli bir ha bu.
Come on! God!
Aa. Flank atmış. Öf. Aha.
Slow.
Aha. Eyvah.
Ne oluyor lan?
Onun da içine güç geldi kanka.
Ayı gücü mü?
Bilmem, o gücü de eklendi galiba.
Kolu da gitti.
Kolu gitti mi ya? Aa gitti.
Måtte ilden din brenne andre steder.
Allah
Deadlock.
Allah.
Kol da yok artık Sinci, anladın? Yakaladın mı? Tamamdır.
Did you adjust the spool capacity?
Yes, it is exactly to your specifications.
Aa geldi benimki.
You two really need to get along.
You don't know what they're capable of. When do we leave?
Haydi bakalım.
Çok hoş.
Çok iyi. Hadi bakalım.
Yani ben şöyle bir şey anladım.
Evet
Bu
hocam.
izlediğimiz sinematikten hocam. Okey bir karakter tanıtımı gördük ama oyundaki en büyük yeniliği de nasıl LoL'de baron var, ejder var.
Evet.
Ayı geliyor abi oyuna.
Artık ayı geliyor. Ayıyı almak ekstra güç verecek galiba, değil mi?
Aynen öyle. Bak izle sen.
İyi
de.
yakalamış.
Anlıyorsun. Okey.
Bakalım oyun tasarımcısı Alexander Mistakidis bize anlatacak.
John, this agent is very different to the Sentinels that you might be expecting. Can you tell me a little bit about why we've even got a Sentinel and what kind of niche she fills?
Yeah. So overall, we're always trying to make sure that we're like balancing the roles and the different
Ferit,
playstyles
biz yine
in
de
the game,
keşke
so that
gitseydik
long-term there's a
Japonya'ya.
healthy
Dudusunu
ecosystem.
dinleyelim.
And we felt that there was a need for a Sentinel
Altta
coming out.
yazıyor ya
There's
zaten,
been a lot of
okuyalım
comments
o
about
zaman.
that for a while now. I think for like the past two agents, I've seen like Sentinel win, Sentinel win. So, you know, it's nice to make those players happy. But something we've noticed is that a lot of our Sentinels require a lot of setup. You know, you've got your like small window before the round starts where you're like running around your area, setting everything up, and it'd be like super stressful, anxiety ridden, and then no one shows up on your site. No one shows up on your location. You get like a little sad and you're like, all right, let me take down my stuff. Let me move on over here. And so we wanted to create a Sentinel that is more about reacting to the situation at hand. How do you stall on the fly? How do you prepare yourself in a certain position to be able to take advantage of enemies that are slowed down in some way?
Okay, well, I want to dive into the abilities as well and really get to see the gameplay of Deadlock
Hadi
as well
bakalım.
unleashed. I believe the first ability is GravNet as well. It's like the lobbable grenade that really can, you know, like you said, be used reactionary, grabbing people. Can you explain a little bit more for me as well?
Yeah.
C'de
absolutely.
grenade var.
So GravNet is this tool that's really good at stalling rushes or throwing at areas where you have information on where enemies are. And it will force them to crouch, and they can kind of move slowly within the bounds of the net. And they won't be able to escape
Çok
that for
iyi.
a certain
Oha.
duration. They have an option to pull off the net and make a
F'ye
loud
basınca
sound.
şey
cue to
yapıyor.
Kaç saniye?
leave there.
Hemen
But
yapıyor yani.
otherwise, it's a little bit more low key.
F'ye
You
basıp
won't
çıkıyorsun
know if
ya.
you've captured someone in your net or not. So you'll have to kind of check for
Aa
yourself.
gidip
Olmazsa
bakman
kaç saniye?
gerekiyormuş. Haber vermiyor.
To bind a opponent in place.
Ya ne
they
yapacaksın
crouch
kaç
on the
saniye
floor,
Kemal, bir dur
and then
ya.
you're trying to
Boş boş
incentivize the
sorular
players to
sorma
swing
oğlum.
and confirm that they got that player. and
Ne
get the
kadar
kill.
değerli aslında bu
Yeah,
sorular da
that's one of
neyse.
the through lines for Deadlock is you're a sentinel that has this opportunity to be a little bit more nimble and pivot on the information you have, and you have a fair bit of stall, but you also have to kind of lean into your abilities and fight for them to have their maximum efficacy. Because if you just kind of throw your stuff and leave it be, it'll be pretty easy for enemies to kind of take it down and move forward.
All right, talk to me
Okay.
about this sonic sensor then, because
Sonic
I think most
sensor.
people are going to be aware of the Sentinels having some flank watch capabilities.
Bence en OP
but this one
skill'lerden
does work
biri.
very differently. You've talked about it being more reactive, so can you break this one down for us?
Yeah, so I believe that Sonic Sensor will be a really unique trap in the game for now, because I think a lot of players are very comfortable with the idea of traps that are really good at flank watch and kind of reliably detecting if someone's in an area or approaching an area. And Sonic Sensor is a little different in that if you're sneaky, you can walk right on through.
Aa.
And so this kind of clear weakness
Neymiş
shifts
lan?
its kind of power profile into a different way where it's a lot better against when people are committing a lot to areas or in places where they want to make sound, like maybe when they want to tap the bomb, and a lot less strong when it comes to just kind of following on up the flank and keeping tabs on it.
Yeah.
Okay, it's interesting as well. Now, the abilities we described, that's not a
Nasıl
signature
yani ya?
ability, right?
Çaktırmadan
We haven't
nasıl
actually touched on that.
geçiyorsun?
So what is her
Kanka
signature
ses
ability
yaptığın
she's
zaman
throwing into the mix?
aktive oluyor
Yeah, so
bomba.
the signature
Shift
Silah
geçersen
sıktığın zaman,
sıkıntı yok
yürüdüğün
yani.
zaman,
which is
Evet.
a possible projectile that will
ayak sesi verdiğin zaman patlıyor. Silah
Eşlikli o
sıktığın zaman
zaman.
patlıyor.
four different barriers, and those barriers will block characters from moving through, but it won't actually
bayağı
block,
zor kılıyor lan.
gunfights or projectiles. And so it's kind of a way to stop people from taking
Ama
ground,
silah
but doesn't
mermisi
stop the
geçiyor.
fight over that area.
Oha bir şarjör
It's
attı.
really different compared to all of the other barriers and walls that we have in the game currently. So it's just going to stop people from walking through that spot, but you're still
Sadece
trying
geçiş
to
kapatıyor ya.
incentivize those fights to happen. It does feel like this whole character is about still taking the jewels on the site.
Absolutely, yeah. I think other Sentinels will have better ways to disengage or to get some guaranteed value from utility if you have a good setup, where Deadlock will have a really good ability to kind of pivot and install areas and have an opportunity to fight with them with their team.
İmza
Okay,
yeteneği.
we haven't touched on the big one yet, though. That's the,
Selam birader.
the ultimate ability.
Günaydın.
And it's named Annihilation for a good
Cocoon.
reason. I mean, this seems really fun to use. And yeah, I mean, just take it away. Explain this one. The concept as well behind it is crazy.
Yeah, this one was a lot of fun and took a lot of revisions and playtests to get right. I'll say that. But yeah, the intention for this ability is that
Meta
it's a
bozacak
little
bu
bit
çar.
more mastery and interactivity to it to some other ultimates, but it still offers this opportunity to quite literally grab someone and displace them and pull them into another place, potentially netting you a kill. But
Bunu bu
offers,
arada
a lot of trade-offs. and
target
kind of
değil yani
tactical
tutturman
elements.
gerekiyor galiba.
How are you going to rescue your teammate that's grabbed, and how are you going to play off Deadlock, kind of continuing to pressure with their team?
Oha.
And
şey,
so,
Skarner
this
gibi mi
ultimate
bu?
should
Skill shot.
offer, a really appealing fantasy for players who like the idea of landing that skill shot and grabbing an enemy and playing off of the ensuing result. And it should offer still a fair bit to the enemies in terms of how they will counter strategy.
Evet tabi sonunda ölüyor onu kurtarılmazsa.
Kurtululmaz sonunda ölüyor.
Kim kurtaracak?
Arkadaşlarımız
Arkadaşları sıkarak kurtulabiliyor. Kurtarabiliyor.
1v1 kaldığında kesin alıyor o zaman.
1v1'de atabiliyor mu bilmiyorum.
We're going to be
Galiba
going to a quick
atabiliyor.
break, but on the other side of this, we have a
Oha.
grand finals pre-show, so you don't want to be missing that either. I appreciate your time, Alexander and John.
Teşekkürler abi,
and
güzel
stick around.
açıkladılar.
We'll
Bravo.
be back
Hadi
just
bakalım.
after this.
Deadlock.
Bu arada çok can sıkıcı bir karakter.
Evet, önce takımlı
Tek yiyor direkt evet.
savaşına dair bir şeyler izledik. Bir video ve devamında
Anlık
da
sağa
oyun
baksanıza.
geliştiricilerine dair bir video daha izledik. Hemen fikirlerimizi
Allah Allah. Çocuk hasta ya
gerçekten çok
gerçekten.
eğlenceli gözüken